To be the world's #1, you need to master the art of the tightest turns and the most daring maneuvers. This is a sport that demands everything: cutting-edge technology, fearless courage, challenging spirit, and the highest level of boat control. This is waterjet racing. Welcome to the WGP1 Waterjet World Series 2025, Round 2, Belgium. The 2025 WGP1 Waterjet World Series has announced its official 3-stop global calendar: Osaka in Japan, Belgium in Europe, and Pattaya City, Thailand. The first round in Osaka was an absolute shocker. In the Pro Ski Grand Prix class, the reigning world champion Kevin Reiterer failed to qualify and was eliminated. That's right, you heard correctly. Kevin Reiterer is out. Reigning vice champion James Wilson emerging victorious in Japan. Incredible.
After Osaka, it was very tough. We didn't even qualify, so the team went home, worked very hard in the time between Osaka and here. It's a great redemption after the bad luck we had in Osaka.
Now all eyes are on the Superman, Kevin Reiterer. Can he get his throne back in round 2? In the world's fastest and most powerful class, Pro Runabout GP, the Osaka round was a fierce mano-a-mano battle between two titans, Mohamed Berbeya of Kuwait and Georgi Kaja of Hungary. In a nail-biting finish, Berbeya emerged victorious. But now in Belgium, the home turf of the European team, you're about to witness the ultimate rematch. Who will take the championship title at the Belgian Grand Prix? The other 4 pro classes are packed with non-stop action, with intense head-to-head showdowns in Sport GP, Pro-Am Runabout 1100 Open, Endurance Open, and Pro Freestyle. Get ready, folks. We can't wait to take you to the center of the action in the WGP1 Waterjet World Series 2025. Let's do it, Belgian style. We've got plenty of action for you here on the lakes of Oder, so let's have a look. The pro categories featured will be the Pro Ski Grand Prix, stand-up jet skis with tight boy turns requiring high balance and precision, the Pro Runabout GP, sit-down jet skis with engines up to 2000cc, the fastest category. We also have highlights from our other 4 categories. The Pro Sport GP, small, sleek, highly agile sit-down jet skis providing plenty of action. The Pro-Am Runabout 1100 Open, mid-sized sit-down jet skis with 1100cc engines. The Pro Freestyle, our Hollywood stuntmen, acrobatics and stunts like you wouldn't believe. And finally, the Endurance Open, our jet ski marathon, 35 minutes plus 1 lap. No holds barred. We'll kick things off with the top of the bill. That's the Pro Ski Grand Prix category. First of all, let's have a look at this fantastic race course here at the lakes of Oder. 21 turns, 12 to the left and 9 to the right. It's going to be median climate here, 23 degrees Celsius top temperature, but rain is expected. From the whole shot to the slaloms is more physical than normal, as we have 8 turns on the slalom this time compared to only 6 in Japan. It's going to be very physical. Wherever you turn, there's going to be a lot of aggression and incredible demands on the body and the mind. As ever, the riders can choose to go left or right in the slaloms, but mistakes will be costly, and if you miss a buoy, then you'll have to take the penalty buoy. That means more time added and more chance to let races get out from under your fingertips. Amazing crop of riders for this weekend. Kevin Reiterer, reigning champion, needing to bounce back after failing to even qualify for the finals last time out. Then the Belgian talents Anthony Bierno and Peslo Xavier, definitely hoping for success on home soil. Then the Danish talent Oliver Kirch Hansen is back in action once again. Great to see him in the 2024 running, and it will be exciting to see what he can do this year. The French talents Eddie Godon and Romain Berra will definitely want to steal some victory on their rivals' home turf. Then the Japanese talents Mao Sato, the reigning Asian champion, and Toshi Ohara, who is definitely creeping up the ranks to be a serious threat to the establishment over the course of the season. But that's not all. There's plenty more spice in the second half of the field. From Norway, Dag Martin Dranger is definitely going to be a threat if he gets things his way. Nizar Abdul-Jadail of Saudi Arabia is a rising talent who has a big future ahead of him. The Swede Felix Helgesson could be a thorn in the side of many. And don't count out the super tie, Tanawin Moli, always up for a scrap. But all eyes are going to be on the American duo, vice world champion James Wilson after his strength in Japan, and Ryder Wildeboer, who gets better every time he's out on the water. Today could be his first victory. So in we go then to Moto 1. It's not the sunny skies that we saw in Japan. It's inclement, it's a little bit cloudy and overcast. James Wilson got the job done in Japan, of course. So how will he fare here in Belgium? Mao Sato was right behind him, but now he's not got the home advantage. He's going to have to fight hard here in the Belgian inclement weather. But what about Kevin Reiterer? This is where he can come strong. Japan is ancient history now to the Austrian. If he's going to bounce back, he's got to do it now. Moto 1 of 4 will wait for the command to get all of the riders out of the hole shot. Revs rise, and we are ready to see what action brings here on the Lake Oder. Getting ready for the command. Once we get off the shot, it's going to be a fast run up to the slaloms. Wait for it. It's going to be very tricky. Now we get under starters' orders, and it's an absolute rocket ship of a launch for all of our riders as they run through. James Wilson wants to continue his incredible form for Japan, but what can the Superman Kevin Reiterer do? They work their way to the slaloms for the first time, and James Wilson continues his form from Osaka, hits the front, and he works his way through to the slalom. Now, this time out the slalom, even more physical than it was in Japan. 8 turns on the slalom. Anthony Birno straight out of the blocks into the hard charging waters and looking very strong indeed on the outside lane. But who is going to emerge first? Is it going to be Wilson? Looks like it might be. He comes off the turn. He's got plenty of time to play with there. So James Wilson doing the job out in front and looking like this could be his season midway through the year. Excellent work from the Americans so far. Birno is still there behind him, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. And this is where things get interesting. We're not on the ocean blue, we're on the lakes of Oder. So this is where it gets a little bit spicier. Kevin Reiterer through into third position, giving chase, the former world champion and reigning world champion, really reading into these boys. So this is where he's got to make a big impact and works his way forward. There is Ryder Wildeboer, living up to the hype and promise. 4th position for the moment. There's still plenty for him to do. And there is Toshio Hara. We did say that he was going to be a potential threat. He's looked so strong in the tests. Now it's time to see what he can do in race trim. Mao Sato having a very difficult ride this time, only down in P10. That's going to give him a real mission for the second half of the year. And that's Anthony Birno. Anthony Birno goes down. That is going to hand second place to the reigning champion, Kevin Reiterer. Birno recovers in P4, but that is disastrous for the home fans. They did not want to see that. So now it is the grudge match. Wilson versus Reiterer once again. And James Wilson has the advantage. He has been leading all the way, but this part of the race is when things get really physical. You've got to remember that with 8 slalom turns and potential rain in the air, there is a humidity issue to talk about as Ryder Wildeboer holds his nerve in third position now, having got ahead of Anthony Birno after that tumble. Wildeboer looking good for a top 3 finish in the first of 4 motos. Excellent work from the young American. There is Birno just trying to stay in touch, but it's so easy to get more mistakes under your belt once you have 1 or 2. Mistakes breed mistakes in sport. So Anthony Birno has got to chill out in the second half of the race and really dig into it. Here's Kevin Reiterer really launching into it now. The number 90, the Austrian Superman, chasing after the 300 as James Wilson continues to lead this race out. But what does Kevin Reiterer do? They're going to be side by side as they go into the final lap. Reiterer has to wait. He's in the white water. James Wilson trying to hold this lead. But if ever Kevin Reiterer was going to put one over on the American, it's got to be now. Anthony Birno back into third position, then he's got ahead of Wildeboer. So excellent comeback from the Belgian. But it's all about the victory up front. There is Wilson. Are they going to go separate ways? Yes, they are. So Reiterer has got to be a Superman on the inside lane of the slalom if he wants to take this lead back off Wilson. And Wilson really digs deep into the outside lane. He's got to be very close on the exit now. This is where it's really going to depend on who's got the stamina and who's got the aggression. Reiterer bouncing off the surface. Excellent stuff as he works his way through. Reiterer trying, pounding every boy, hoping that he can get to the line first. Out of the final turn, it's going to be tight. It's going to be Reiterer. He steals it from Wilson on the very last tour. Absolutely phenomenal comeback from Kevin Reiterer. Japan was a nightmare. Belgium is already the beginning of a fairy tale.
Wow, Kevin Reiterer, what a world champion and what a way to respond. So how will James Wilson bounce back? Let's find out next.
Welcome back to Belgium. Moto 2 out of 4 for the Pro Ski Grand Prix, the premier category for the stand-up jet skis, and now it's getting exciting. James Wilson on 53 points, the American, going through the motions this weekend. But of course, it's going to be interesting for him running in second position now to Reiterer after Moto 1. So who is going to get the best of it this time out? Keep an eye on the contenders. Anthony Birno on the far side of the course really wants to bounce back. He got a third in Moto 1. But he has the potential to go even better. Kevin Reiterer leading the points at the moment, 7 points clear of James Wilson. And let's get it on! Up to the first charge, out of the whole shot, and they will run round the far side on the outer perimeter and into the slalom. But who is going to get the jump? It looks like Birno has got out of the blocks very quickly. Wilson is your leader, though. So Wilson taking things by storm already. He certainly has been in the prime position in the first couple of runs already. Riders choosing several approaches. Quite a few of them have gone the same way as Wilson on this first slalom into the inside lane, and that's going to make things pretty interesting. Anthony Birno again, though, sticking with convention, holding it to the outside lane, but he's got plenty of clear water in front of him. That will help him out. Comes through the final part of the slalom into the 7th and 8th turns on the slalom. It's such a physical course here in Belgium. Leans down. Where's he going to be? He's ahead! Anthony Birno has pushed his way through ahead of James Wilson, and the Belgian leads on the Lakes Odeur. Fantastic start from Anthony Birno. Well, James Wilson really working hard to try and catch him, and this is not going to be easy, even for someone of the talent of James Wilson. Anthony Birno's now got Ryder Wildeboer closing in on him as well now. So the Americans are the ones charging. Where's Kevin Reiterer? He's behind them. I thought he would be in the top 3 already. Yeah, there he is in 4th place, and he's struggling in the white water on the early stages. So he's got to settle into a rhythm, and behind him that is again Toshi Ohara, who is really living up to the hype. Good work so far from the Japanese. How far closer to the top 4 will he be able to get, though? Because these lakes get rough every single lap. There's Felix Helgesson, the Swede, really starting to put himself into the contention now. But Anthony Birno is just stretching away from James Wilson. He's really starting to make... Oh, Wilson's hit the buoy! Now that is going to cause a penalty. He knows he's got to take the penalty buoy now. He's missed the buoy completely there and struck it. So now, look, he's got to go the long way round. So he's going to lose out to Wildeboer on the inside lane and to Reiterer on the outside lane. That is a devastating mistake for James Wilson. And that blows the championship fight wide open. It was looking so strong for him after Japan, but now he's having to play catch-up, and that's the first mistake of the season for James Wilson. So now Anthony Birno leads this young man, Ryder Wildeboer. What a great chance for him, as the American teen is putting on a show. But here comes Reiterer on the far side. You cannot crush the legend. Kevin Reiterer, Superman himself. What a storm up into second place. Right, that's Wilson dealt with, Wildeboer dealt with. What about Birno? Anthony Birno on home water is not going to be easy to beat. Oh, he's lost it! Birno's gone! Birno's in the drink on the final lap. Devastating for the hometown hero. And so it's going to be Kevin Reiterer again. Oh, devastating bad luck for Anthony Birno. But for Kevin Reiterer, he knows how to storm back to Providence. And this is an amazing return to form for Kevin Reiterer. Let's look at it again. Birno putting so much into it as he runs his way through, looks behind him, tries to get himself settled for the left-hand buoy. Reiterer's right on him, and suddenly it all gets away. That is a devastating mistake from Anthony Birno. Victory was in the palm of his hands, and it's all slipped away. But for Kevin Reiterer, it is the comeback of comebacks. He's not just going to win once, he's going to do the double here in Moto 2. And with 2 motos to go after this one, this is a man who is in the form of his life. Well, if anybody was going to do anything possible to wipe away the memory of Osaka here in Belgium, Reiterer is rewriting the form book. Amazing stuff. He will come through in majestic fashion. Still the king, still top dog. Kevin Reiterer, victorious once more. Absolutely magic for Reiterer. Devastation for the Belgian crowd. Well, it's heartbreak for Belgium, but it's pretty tasty for Austria and the United States for Ryder Wildeboer, claiming a second place. And Japan is on the podium as well for Toshihara in third place. Look at the points after the first two motos. It's maximum 120 for Kevin Reiterer on the top spot. James Wilson, despite slipping to fourth place in that second moto, is still there in second place, just 4 points ahead of young Ryder Wildeboer, with Toshihara creeping into fourth position. Anthony Beerno still getting points from Moto 2, but the loss of that victory for the young Belgian, very difficult to take, I'm sure. Helgesen, Abdul Jadiel, then Xavier, Moli and Sato to round out the top 10. Let's go straight into the action for Moto 3 then. After 2 wins out of 2 so far for Kevin Reiterer, it's going to be very difficult to break that run of dominance. But we know how quick James Wilson is going to be. He's got a bit of ground to make up now in the points tally, 24 points back from the Austrian, who has the maximum, 120. It couldn't be any more different from what we saw from him in Japan. Didn't even make it into the finals, of course. Failed in qualifying, but he is absolutely rip-roaring here. Waiting for the shot. Out of the whole shot, the riders will go. Who's going to get to that first buoy first? Let's find out. We charge across the Lakes Oder, and it's going to be a fabulous run on the far side of the slalom. But this time it looks even better off the start from Kevin Reiterer than it did in the first 2 motors. Wilson is there leading, but Reiterer is not far behind him this time. He's actually made a very good start. There he is in the middle of the gaggle. Several riders going to the far side. There is Wilson. Onto the inside lane. That's where he seems to favour, on the first lap at least. But on the far side, that is Kevin Reiterer, really pushing on the 90. And this is where the Austrian has a real chance to take the lead before we even complete the first tour. This is going to be an interesting one through the slaloms. Reiterer really leaning into his aggression. Is he going to beat Wilson out? He is, you know. Reiterer takes the lead at the end of the first tour. That is a mighty start from Reiterer. The man just does not know how to lose in Belgium. Absolutely monstrous from Kevin Reiterer so far. Wilson still having a decent ride. Second place will do for the moment, and that will certainly keep his championship winning aspirations alive. Don't forget, no points from Reiterer in Japan. So this is where Wilson's consistency can really help him. Reiterer on course for another 60 points. Look back, there is Wilson, still in contention, second place. But there is a big waft of contenders behind. Look at this, Felix Helgesen has got himself into third ahead of Toshihara, ever improving. Anthony Beerno, 5th position, not where he wants to be. And Ryder Wildeboer has got a lot of work to do ahead of Abdul Jail. And then we've got Sato ahead of Tanawin Moli, the tie. So it's still relatively even as to what it was in Moto 1 and 2. Fairly similar, but Wildeboer has definitely got some ground to make up. Reiterer is just in a class of his own out front, as Wilson continues his charge in second position. But there is a lot of work still to do, and he knows it. Here is Felix Helgesen flying the flag for Sweden, but he's got big pressure coming from Toshihara, the Japanese rider, looking good off the outside lane. Can he beat Helgesen to the turn? No worries. Toshihara looking good for another top 3 finish after he came third in Moto 2. It looks like he'll do it again in Moto 3 unless Felix Helgesen can charge back to him. But Toshihara looking so much smoother now. Moto 1 was a difficulty. Moto 2 and Moto 3 are his time in the sunshine. Felix Helgesen still pushing hard, not going to give up anytime soon, and keeping one eye over his shoulder because he knows he's going to have some pressure to the end of this race. But out in front, it's Kevin Reiterer all the way. It's certainly looking like one of the easiest motos of the season so far. Kevin Reiterer just keeping himself nice and in check. James Wilson doing what he needs to, but look at Toshihara. He's really eating into him. I don't think this is going to be a safe run to second place for James Wilson if Toshihara's got anything to say about it. Felix Helgesen settling into his 4th place now. But he's got to be careful. There's Anthony Beerno. And the man who's thinking pink is going to try and crack the top 4 before the end. But Kevin Reiterer is unstoppable, uncatchable, unflappable. Amazing work from the reigning world champion. 3 out of 3 so far. Kevin Reiterer dominant this weekend. And is there going to be a 4th win in the offing in Moto 4? A foolish man would bet against it. Here it is so far, then 180 points for Reiterer on the board. Wilson still there in second place, has a chance to catch up with him, but maybe not overtake him. Toshihara, good work so far, consistent running from the Japanese. Third position, ahead of young rider Wildeboer. Took a little bit of a blip in that last moto, but still consistent on the scoreboard. And Anthony Birno now has threat from the Swede Felix Helgesson. If he gets another decent result, then he could slip out of the top 5.
So, a hat-trick of victories for Kevin Reiterer, 3 out of 3. Can James Wilson stop him, claiming a clean sweep? We'll find out next.
And now you can see that for Moto 4, things are going to be particularly tricky. The rain has arrived and Kevin Reiterer is in a perfect place to take advantage here. With the rain setting in and his massive advantage, this is going to be tricky. James Wilson now 31 points behind him. It looks almost impossible to take the win here in Belgium, but certainly points are on offer, as Toshihara knows well, in third position. Look at the rain here in Belgium for the final moto as we get ourselves ready for the whole shot. Lights on, lights out, let's do it! The wettest of the 4 motos gets underway. A couple of riders there sluggish out of the blocks, but I cannot tell you how difficult this race is going to be for our riders. The course that we have added with the rain, it's going to be like blinking at 4,000 miles an hour. So the way they go through the slalom, it's going to be tricky now for James Wilson to keep this advantage, but he really wants to make it stick. He knows how quick Kevin Reiterer is going to be on the outside lane. There's no way Reiterer will go the same way as James Wilson on the opening lap. He wants to make sure he's got plenty of space. There's the proof. Reiterer goes outside. Now it's all about commitment, focus, perseverance, dedication. To the line. Who's going to get out there first? Will it be Reiterer? Yes, it will. Absolutely flawless. Oh, the man can do no wrong in Belgium. What a start for Kevin Reiterer. Fresh out of the blocks and absolutely monstering this field. Second place for James Wilson, still going strong, but look who's in third. It's that man again, Toshihara. He really wants a good run. Oh, he nearly loses it, just manages to save it in front of Anthony Birno and Mao Sato. Helgesson P6, that's going to give Birno a little bit of a breather. But Reiterer really having to focus now. The rain makes this so much more intense, and Belgium is a very intense slalom anyway, with its 8 turns. So this is going to be tricky, even for a man of the stature of Kevin Reiterer to hold on to. I don't want to be one of those people on the sidelines there. They're getting even wetter than the riders. But James Wilson, second position, it's getting close, because Toshihara is really starting to eat into that advantage that Wilson has built up. So Kanahara snatches second place away from the American to make his task in Thailand even harder. So Toshihara trying his best to close up. He hasn't got a lot of time left to play with. We're on the final tour, and the Austrian Kevin Reiterer has responded majestically after the misery of Japan. He has made it 4 moto victories out of 4. He is the king of Belgium. Absolutely fantastic from Kevin Reiterer. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you bounce back from adversity, and nobody knows it better than the reigning world champion. Kevin Reiterer absolutely obliterates the competition here in Belgium. He's going to be so strong heading to Thailand. James Wilson, second place, still plenty of good points for the championship. Toshihara really stepping up to the occasion here, third position. He could be so happy with that. Ever impressive performances from rider Wildeboer, including that second place in Moto 2. Anthony Birno, absolutely disastrous. That victory that got away from him in Moto 2, that must hurt so much now.
It's great in our sport to see that we can still be able to do that. Even if you mess up the start like I did yesterday, but then today with 2 moto hole shots and to lead was also very nice, because I fixed my starts, I did a better job, and I could do the perfect weekend. The final round will be again different. The conditions in Thailand is always very, very hard. And we have to build a ski especially for those conditions, to do some test races before Thailand to prepare for that specific race on the end of the year. Hi, this is Kevin Reiterer, and I will see you all in Pattaya.
Great job, Kevin. We'll see you in Thailand. On to the Pro Runabout GP riders. 13 of the best from around the world. Gil Gracia of Brazil will take on the Estonians Matthias Seaman on the 71 and the 14, Patrick Mora. Do not underestimate these three. They could be real tigers on the water. Florian Bardou of France has travelled over to go up against one of the best in the business. His countryman, Francois Midori, definitely going to be a contender in this category. And of course, so too will the Hungarian, Georgi Kaja, almost certainly in the run for the victories. After the success of the first round of the World Series in Japan, there's plenty of talent still here to go for the glory. Kenta Oku and Mitsuyuki Umibe represent just a small section of the Japanese talent that's on offer here in Belgium. There's more that have travelled all the way from Asia to be here for this second round. Tamura Masamitsu, the number 33, along with the number 25, young Toshiki Sano. There's a lot of potential in this quartet, so keep your eye on them. But the Q80s are obviously the class of the field so far. Mohamed Albaz and the 2024 champion Mohamed Babeya are not going to be easy to beat. But there is a Brit who's travelled all the way to come here. James Bushell, the 158, is definitely a contender as well, having shown fantastic work on the British circuit. So who's going to win? Let's find out. So let's get ready then for the fastest category on the water. 2000cc makes this the most powerful class that we have in WaterJet World Series. And the riders are ready for the sit-down challenge of the century. Georgi Kaja, Mohamed Babeya, both on the outside of the course, ready to go to the inside, but Mohamed Albaz is definitely one to watch out for on that inside lane. Keep your eyes peeled for an exciting start here. 4 motos, as per usual, but this is going to be particularly physical in the sit-down category of Pro Runabout. And let's not forget that rain is potentially on the way as well. Lights on, wait for it, we will charge forward. We do so for the first time in Pro Runabout GP. We charge for that inside lane, everybody wanting to get the choice first, and it's already a big launch forward from Mohamed Albaz. The number 38 has already hit the front and is looking very strong out of the blocks. Into the slalom. Albaz taking the inside lane, just as physical, if not even more so than in Pro Ski Grand Prix. These runabouts very difficult to tame. Mohamed Babeya looking very confident on the outside lane, hoping that he can get one over on his countrymen. They have a fantastic rivalry, which is full of respect and flair, and they're going to go so close. But Albaz holds the inside. Oh, that needed a brave man to commit, and Albaz had the bravery on the inside line. I genuinely thought for a moment there was going to be a conflagration. That's why I held my breath. But Babeya thought of it, you know what, I can get him later. I don't need to lose this race on the first lap. Georgi Kaja settling into the rhythm behind, but you can see how much white water is being thrown up behind these pro runabouts. This is such a difficult class, as James Bushell is finding out the hard way. First round of the World Series, and what an amazing run for him. We missed him in Japan, of course. Oh, and that's Kenta Oku. So not everybody is having a great start to their World Series campaign in Belgium. Certainly Kenta Oku is already done. So Babeya wrestling against the elements. He's going to try again as Georgi Kaja has come around the outside. Oh, that's really going to hurt Babeya. Albaz got him on the first lap. Now Kaja's got him. So now the Hungarian has put one over on Mohamed Babeya, who is really finding it tough. And here comes Francois Midori. He fancies his chance as well. If Albaz can do it, if Kaja can do it, now it's my turn. Through the slaloms, Georgi Kaja really finding the physical side of this circuit. This is where you've really got to have stamina and concentration. Is Kaja going to get out first? He does! Kaja's beaten Albaz out of the slalom, and he holds it through the first couple of apexes on the boys. And that's James Bushell. He started so well. James Bushell was top 5 on the opening lap. Well, not every story is going to end well, but Georgi Kaja has pulled one over. That's Francois Midori. So Midori has found his way past Albaz as well. There is Mohamed Albaz. The Q80 is finding the going very rough indeed here in Belgium. And so Mohamed Albaz is going to have to settle for third position. This is where the likes of Kaja and Midori can really have that momentum in strides. And Midori is doing everything he can to catch up to the Hungarian, but he's run out of time. Georgi Kaja opens his account in Belgium with a victory. Fantastic work from Georgi Kaja so far. Well, the fans have been treated to a fantastic start to the competition, and for Albaz and Babea, it's time to catch up. Here we go for Moto 2. The sun's come out a little bit here, and that will make the water a little bit calmer for our riders. Georgi Kaja opened his account with a win in Moto 1. Can he make it 2 out of 2? The same way we saw from Kevin Reiterer. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty tough to achieve. Who's going to win the first bit of the race, which is the first one to the slalom? Avanti! We find out it's a cracking start from Albaz, but he's in a drag race to the first point with Georgi Kaja. Who gets there first? It's Albaz! Oh, he commits around the outside, and so the Q80 hits the front once more. But of course, it all started to fall apart in the latter stages of the first couple of laps. Now he's got to have the strength and the presence of will to hold on, throw the jet ski into every single boy and hope that it sticks. He's got a lot of pressure already from Georgi Kaja. There's Mohamed Babea on the outside lane. He wants to beat his countryman out of the slalom. This is not going to be easy. They are very evenly matched, these two. They come off the turns, and Albaz has a clear advantage on this occasion ahead of Babea. But this is where Midori and Kaja started to break ground in the first moto. And where are they in the second? Well, there's Kentaroku making up for the retirement in Moto 1. Now he's going to try and get underneath the skin of the two Q80s up in front of him. He's under chase as well. There's Francois Midori. He's ahead of Georgi Kaja, who I have to say has had a real struggle on the start of Moto 2. This has not been easy going for the Hungarian this time. Currently down in P5. And look at the wash from the white water. This is the difference between the ocean and the lakes, of course. I've talked about various different sports on the water before, and people have told me that racing on a lake is very different to racing on the ocean. As Francois Midori moves up past Kentaroku. Excellent work from the Frenchman, and that's Florian Bardou. Well, I'm afraid not every Frenchman is going to have a decent time on the lakes this time. So with one out, the other one is marching up to second place. Can Francois Midori take on Mohamed Babea? It's going to be tight off the turn as Midori's got him round the outside lane, and he hoodwinks him. Excellent work from Francois Midori. That's P2. Yeah, keep an eye on it because it's going to get interesting now. Mohamed Albaz is really struggling to hold on to this lead. And Francois Midori will do it again here. He's got him. Magnificent. Francois Midori in consecutive laps takes on first Babea, then Albaz, who's now hit trouble. Mohamed Albaz is out. Oh, that's devastating for the Q80. He hands over the torch to his countryman, Mohamed Babea, but Francois Midori is in command. It was Georgi Kaja in Moto 1. Now it's time for the Frenchman to take a bow. Francois Midori is victorious, and he is absolutely majestic across the line. Formidablement brave as Francois Midori now hits the lead of the standings by 10 points to the Hungarian Georgi Kaja. Excellent work from those two to open up the form book, but it's much closer than it was in Pro Ski Grand Prix. Mohamed Babea doing a fair job there in third position after a second place finish in Moto 2. Watch out for Matthias Seemann. His consistency is keeping him very much in the show, but Mohamed Albaz definitely needs to bounce back after a real mishap there in Moto 2.
Fun and games here in Pro Runabout GP Moto 1 and 2, but what about Moto 3 and 4? How will Georgi go against Francois Midori? Let's find out next.
We keep the rock and roll show going here on the Lakes Oder. And there is Francois Midori, our current points leader, only by 10 ahead of Georgi Kaja. So this will be a fascinating run. And look, they are side by side with Georgi Kaja! Oh my goodness! Jump start there for Georgi Kaja! Can you believe it? The Hungarian, who is fighting for the title this weekend, he has now got himself a penalty for jumping the start. It is so easy to get that wrong. But it's a big difficulty for someone of the style and grace of Georgi Kaja up front. That's a real hammer blow for his chances, so he will have to wait for everybody to get started, and then he will join in after them. Off we go! And it's a fantastic launch out of the blocks again for Mohamed Albaz. There goes Georgi Kaja at the back of the toe and in through the first couple of boys. It's Mohamed Babea who's picked up the pieces then on the first start. So Albaz really is struggling to maintain it, but it's his countryman who's picked up the slack. in through the slalom. Several people choosing to go the same way as Babea, but that's because there's a little bit of distance between them. They're not quite going to get smashed in the face by the white water. There's a little bit of time to play with. Here comes Mohamed Albaz. They've actually gone opposite ways. Babea took the inside lane, Albaz took the outside. That's the opposite of what they've done before. Has Albaz got the confidence to go after Babea? He gets level. Can he hold it around the outside? No chance. Babea holds the lead for the moment. But this is just getting started between these two. Knowing that Kaja has the penalty and Midori is a little slow out of the blocks, this is where Babea and Albaz can really bounce back in style. Babea eats into the boy. Lovely work. Albaz still with him. And there is Francois Midori, third position. The Frenchman chasing them down. James Bushell back to his best in fourth position. And Florian Bardou definitely doesn't want a rerun of Moto 2. Georgi Kaja finds himself down in seventh ahead of Seaman and Toshiki Sano. And there is Mitsuyuki Umibe, 10th position. The Japanese rider doing his best to hang on. It's not easy for Mohamed Babea. Look at how much physical punishment he is taking going through these slaloms. Even watching the leader, it is not a smooth run at all. You've got to be so focused and determined to make this work. And here's the proof. Albaz tries to bounce back, but Midori's got him. Midori into second place. He splits the Q80 duo. Francois Midori, so confident in these conditions. Can he steal the victory now away from our leader, Mohamed Babea? There's Albaz trying to get back into the rhythm, third position, but it's so difficult. And that's Sano. Toshiki Sano is the latest rider to have a mechanical problem. So now Toshiki Sano is out of it. There's Georgi Kaja. That is how much damage that jump start penalty has cost his race. Seventh position at the moment, and he's got a problem himself. It looks like Georgi Kaja's in trouble. Oh my goodness, the Hungarian is out. And that blows this competition wide open again. Georgi Kaja will not take a top three finish in Moto 3. And there is the white flag, the final lap. Is it going to be Midori or is it going to be Babea? Look how quickly Midori's catching. So of course, as one goes one way, the other will go the other. Babea sticks it to the outside lane, and it's going to be Midori from France who takes the inside lane. But who will get there first? This is all about focus, commitment, perseverance. Midori is catching. Can Babea hold on? Last couple of runs round the slalom to the line. Can Babea get there? Yes, he does. Only just hanging on from the Frenchman, Francois.
Albaz and Kaza. So good job for everyone. Good push. He pushed me a lot. Keep safe, Midori. No, he pushed more. Yeah.
Sometimes we get sweet, sweet finishes. That was so close. Francois Midori still holds the points lead, but now we have three different moto winners from the first three here in Belgium. First Kaja, then Midori, and now Babea. And they are the top three, only separated now by 36 points. Mohamed Albaz, better consistency now, up to fourth position. And Matthias Seaman is holding the best of the rest crown ahead of James Bushell, Florian Bardou, then Masamitsu, Sano and Umibe, the Japanese trio. Into Moto 4 then, the fourth and final run. You can see the skies have got very dark over the lakes. But the crucial news is no rain. We've avoided that. That's the main thing going into this one. There is Francois Midori battling for the Belgian Grand Prix title here. And this is a great chance to wrap it up. He knows he's going to have it tough from Mohamed Babea. He's also going to have it tough from Albaz and from Georgi Kaja, who will want to bounce back in fine style here. Georgi Kaja getting himself ready, hoping that this time he gets a victorious run. Three different winners from the first three motos, so it's important you get out of the blocks well. Everybody trying to charge forward. And there is a problem on the start. Red flag is in the air. So that is a red flag. There was a mechanical failure for Kenta Oku, and I think there's going to be a penalty. It's going to be Mohamed Albaz. Mohamed Albaz is going to have a penalty here. That is devastating bad luck for the Q80. Any chance he had of making it 4 wins from 4 riders is now gone. So now we get started again. Albaz has to wait, and off we go. Georgi Kaja hits the front in style. No challenge up to the outer perimeter. So the Hungarian is bouncing back in style. If he becomes the man to get 2 wins out of 4, then it's going to be very interesting who finishes where after that. Don't forget, Kaja has the big points loss of that retirement in Moto 3. Here is Mohamed Babea on the outside lane. Left, right. Put all of your weight and your physicality into these turns, but who's going to get to the line first? It's going to be Kaja. The Hungarian strikes first. On to the main part of the course, very physical, and of course, with the wash of the waves through the lake, bouncing back off the trees on the far side, every lap is a real challenge. So here is Georgi Kaja, and he's not that far ahead of Mohamed Babea at all. Babea is staying with him, despite the white water. Francois Midori keeping his point score in check. Third place will do. Albaz into fourth position despite the penalty, ahead of Masamitsu and Bardou. James Bushell really struggling this time. Seventh place for him in front of Matthias Seaman, who started so well, the Estonian, but his pace has lacked of late. Babea in trouble. Mohamed Babea smashing his fists on the handlebars. He can't believe this one's got away from him. Mohamed Babea also in trouble. Well, that means then that it's going to be a straight duel, surely. But now James Bushell is starting to fight his way forward as Francois Midori is taking on the challenge to Georgi Kaja. But Bushell's got him! Bushell the Brit into B2 as he fights his way past the Frenchman. Excellent work from James Bushell. This is the ride of his weekend so far. And look, Midori is just dropping like a stone through a wet paper bag. So Kaja leading. Bushell second from Midori. Seaman. Mohamed Albaz finds himself down in P6 as Babea, head in his hands. What does he have to do to turn his luck around? Disappointment for Mohamed Babea. Where has Francois Midori's pace gone? There goes Matthias Seaman to get through into third position. So Matthias Seaman now into the podium positions here. And that is devastating for Francois Midori, who's just dropping. But Georgi Kaja, what a ride from the Hungarian. He comes through, and he will be the only rider in Pro Runabout to get 2 wins in the motos. A double victor for Georgi Kaja, with Midori down in P4. And James Bushell, what a great ride. But Midori didn't need much from this race. 4th position will be enough. He is the champion in Belgium. Fantastic. Formidable for Francois Midori. Excellent ride as Babea throws his helmet into the water. He is devastated. As Francois Midori celebrates, Babea is enraged at his misfortune. So it's a victory for France and Francois Midori, who finishes 19 clear of Georgi Kaja, the Hungarian, the only man to get 2 victories for that Moto3 retirement, hampering his score. Mohamed Babea, though, enraged, and he's going to have to work hard to bounce back in Thailand in the season finale. Good work from Matthias Seaman and from James Bushell, who took on the world's best and proved that they can mix it when the moment is theirs. Hopefully we'll see them in Pattaya City.
I'm really happy to win this race. I never win a GSB race in WGP1, so I hope doing the same in Pattaya. In jet ski racing, you can have mechanical issue, you can fall down, you can have crash, everything can happen. So I will try to do good training to Pattaya and try to win category for sure.
So that's all the Belgian action in Grand Prix and Runabout. But what about the remaining 4 categories? There's plenty more drama right around the buoy. See you in a mo.
Still plenty of action to go here in the Lakes of Oder on the WGP1 Waterjet World Series, 2nd round of 2025. Sport GP is up first, and after a difficult start to the season, Simon Belcher of Great Britain wanted to make sure that his Belgian mission was an easy task to perform, and he claimed victory out front, but not without plenty of opposition. It was an interesting weekend for the Thai megastar Supatat Putrakul, who was taking a brief break away from Runabout 1100 Open to race in Sport GP. He had opposition too, Philin Sally, the Cambodian ace, putting on a great show for the fans. There was also a good mission from his countryman, Omod Salih, coming up with a 4th place in the gritty race trim. Tapatara Josunason was also strong from 5th position. But after grueling races on a particularly physical course, this was the time for Simon Belcher to really come good. He fought valiantly and clinched the championship title in Belgium that he wanted so much. Traditionally, the Pro-Am Runabout 1100 Open class is difficult to predict, but if you'd have watched this one without seeing Japan, you'd have thought that the form book hadn't changed at all. Wodakit Monkolporn was obviously a very fast competitor in Japan, winning the title. He wanted to get the job done again here. He led in the early stages and made it look effortless. Once he got into his rhythm and flow, he was unflappable. He certainly had opposition though. Marshal Louis Bahusan of the Philippines was always going to be on his back. So too was the German youngster Nils Wittling, who's really starting to come on a pace. Philin Sally did more fantastic work as the Cambodian continued to add to his tally. And Tadao Hayashiguchi was always going to be a top 5 contender. But it was always easy pickings for Wodakit Monkolporn once he managed to get himself into his flow. Victory, just as he did in Japan, was assured in Belgium. He goes to Thailand with a chance to make it 3 out of 3. Pro freestyle is always spectacular, and certainly where all of the cameras are always on show. Claire Hartung is putting on some spectacular performances in Europe, and it was great to see her in flamboyant fashion here in the Waterjet World Series. But she wasn't the only one putting on a show. Staf de Puter of Belgium was definitely riding high, and after some flamboyant performances, second position was not a surprise. But there's still one class rider who can mix it up with the best of them. For the United States, this was the time in the sunshine for Demi Morgan, the Flying Mermaid, doing an absolutely amazing job and a wonderful performance after her consistency last year. This was a title that was well deserved. Every time she gets out, she gets better. So from backflips to an endurance run, the Endurance Open, the Indy 500 of jet ski racing. It's always tough and it's always physically demanding. The riders run from the shore, leap up to the whole shot and charge away for 35 minutes plus 1 lap. The course is different from the normal racetrack, using only the outer perimeter. But as the Frenchmen inform Hugo Pastorello and Francois Midori know all too well, it's hard on the throttle all the way. Midori's pass was absolutely majestic as he took the lead early stages and made sure that the race was his own. But there's plenty of opposition in endurance to push you all the way. Hajime Esahai was also putting on a great show as he moved up into second place. So Francois Midori controlled it out front and added to his performance in the pro runabouts. Second place for Hajime Esahai as he continues to make progress. But Francois Midori is a hard man to beat. So Kevin Reiterer won the Pro Ski Grand Prix here in Belgium, but in the standings, it's James Wilson who leads the way, with Toshi Ohara and Ryder Wildeboer tied on second. Simon Belcher wins both the Grand Prix and takes the lead in the Sport GP standings, equal to Philin Sally and 2 more ahead of Supertap. Wodakit Monkolporn was triumphant here in Belgium in Pro-Am Runabout 1100 Open, and he leads the way in the standings. By winning in Belgium, Francois Midori is now third in the standings, as he's chasing after Mohamed Babea and Georgi Kaja. But Francois' victory in the Endurance Open now puts him as the joint leader alongside Hajime Esahai, with only Thailand to go. Victory for Demi Morgan, the Flying Mermaid now puts herself into the lead of the Pro Freestyle World Series standings ahead of Taiji Yamamoto. The Pro-Am Women's Ski Grand Prix was won by Jonna Borgström, but it's still Mami Kaneko who leads the title ahead of Sophie Francis and Hitomo Saito. Luke Thompson was triumphant in Pro-Am Ski Stock, and he's scored well, but Tanawid Moli is still ahead of Tanawin by 7. Matthias Seeman did a great job in Pro-Am Runabout Stock to claim the Belgian title, but Okada Yuki is the points leader. Matthias Reinas did great work in Expert Ski GP, but it's still Tanawid Moli ahead of Hugo Pastorello in the standings. Fahad Ahmed El Raiz got the job done in Expert Runabout Superstock, and he leads the standings by 12. Osman Min of Cambodia was mighty in amateur ski 4-stroke lights, and he leads the standings by just a mere 5. Arti Malta was flamboyant for Estonia in amateur runabout 1100 stock, catching up to Philin Sally and Angelo Inigo Ventus. Cecina Pungam did a great job in women's runabout 1100 stock, as she leads the points by a massive margin. Atapan Kunsa was brilliant in Veterans Runabout Limited, and he also leads the point standings by 19. Jonathan Pan is always strong, and in Veteran Ski Grand Prix 2025 is no exception. Sam Wilson did a brilliant job here in novice ski stock, and now he is all square with Osman Min heading to the finale in Pattaya. Ivan Kubabski was brilliant in novice runabout stock as well, and he leads the standings ahead of Khalil Sadini. Now for the junior categories. In ski 4 stroke lights, Ty Smith is the man who's on top, both in Belgium and the standings. It was a great run from Pataranan Butsangdi. He got the Slalom Junior 8-13 Ski 1100 stock win and championship lead. And finally, Kanapon Petkouiang's victory in Belgium puts him at the head of Slalom Junior Spark Stock as he heads home. Sadly, that's all we have time for from the WGP1 Waterjet World Series 2025 here from the Belgian Grand Prix on the Lakes d'Odeur. But that's not it for 2025. We've gone from Osaka to Belgium, and now we have the Thailand Grand Prix 1 week before Christmas, the perfect place to end the race for the title. And we invite all of you to join us in the glorious Pattaya City, the ultimate holiday destination.
Thailand's an amazing country. It's very nice. The culture's open.
I like rice and sometimes noodles. Thai food is nice.
I went to Koh Samui Island after, and that was beautiful.
My favourite place in Thailand is Pattaya City because it hosts the World Cup, and it's so enjoyable, and because of that, Pattaya is definitely my #1 place in Thailand.
We can't wait to see you in Pattaya City the week before Christmas from the 17th to the 21st of December 2025. Come and join us in the Land of Smiles as we wrap up the WGP1 Waterjet World Series in flamboyant style.